Hi friends. So in this video, we are going to demystify Federer's champion mindset from 2004 to 2007 when he was in his prime, and how the experts, the commentators, fellow tennis players, and all the fans looked at him during those years, what were his key strengths, what were his weaknesses, even when he was in his prime, and how some of the players were able to capitalize on that and get a few victories against him. We'll also see how and when his decline started in his career and how it now, how is his form right now. We'll also look at his key patterns of play, and we'll see a few examples, a few screenshots and videos as well. So let's get started. So before I move to the key factors, I would like to talk about the aura that Federer had during those years. If you see all those matches between 2004 and 2007, Federer had the belief, he had the confidence that he will always win the match, regardless of whether he loses a few games, a few sets, he gives away a few breaks of serve. He still had so much confidence that sooner or later his game will start to click. He'll use his favorite patterns of play and win the matches. And even the same was the aura of invincibility that he had in the minds of the other players. So everybody, when asked in the press conferences, every other fellow player said that they would try to, stretch the match as much as possible, try to make it difficult for Federer to win, but no one said that actually they had chances to win the game if they play well, because they knew that if Federer is playing well, they will not have any chance to win the match. Of course, on clay, Nadal did beat Federer consistently, so he was an exception, but most of the other players did not have chances against Federer when he was in his prime, and such was the belief of the commentators and all the experts as well. Everybody wanted Federer to win in the French Open once, because everybody thought that he deserved to have a French Open victory, especially in 2006. Everyone was rooting for Federer, and it wasn't to be. He lost to Nadal. So a lot of things happened between 2004 and 2007, but it was the general belief that Federer, if he's fit and if he's playing, then he will win the Grand Slams and all the tournaments. He rarely lost a match throughout the whole season, and whenever he lost a match, it was a headline, it was a matter of discussion between the experts, and everybody started to think that, is Federer having a vulnerability? Is Federer's form on the decline even after losing a single match? Such was his dominance during those years. So let's now look at the key factors that actually brought those things in Federer. So the confidence and belief I've already mentioned, but the most important thing for me is the movement on court. So he was moving so quickly on court. His court position was so good that it actually supported his pattern of play. And we'll look at his pattern of play in a while, and I'll try to explain how exactly his movement supported his pattern of play. But that was a key part. Of course, we all know that his forehand is one of the best in tennis. His serve is so good. His passing shots were really nice, and not only on the forehand, but I'm especially talking about the backhand, because that is the area which the opponents are exploiting nowadays or in recent years, especially on the passing shots. So in on big points, if the opponents come to the net and they attack Federer's backhand, more often than not, they are able to get an error from that end of Federer. But it was not the case, in the 2004 to 2007 years. In that period, Federer was able to hit passing shots on the backhand side, down the line as well as cross court with 100% accuracy. Rarely he missed a shot, and it was so good to see those shots. It was really beautiful to watch. Of course, faster court surface was also a key factor because it allowed Federer to implement his aggressive style of play, which is so difficult to do now, given the court surface has slowed down, the equipments have changed, and there's a lot of topspin players, good baseline players, more, I would say, stamina wise, I would say more players have better endurance in terms of playing 5 to 6 hours at a stretch, and that really plays down on Federer's tactics, because Federer is someone who likes to finish the match quickly, finish the points quickly, and he got really helped by the faster court surface during those years, and also the opportunity creation. So because Federer created so many opportunities during those years within a match, so many break points and a lot of cheap points on his serve that it was really hard for the opponent to have any insight or any looks on Federer's serve or Federer's game to make any advancement because Federer was creating like tens and twenties of break points every set. So even if he was not able to convert, which is one of the weakness actually of Federer, is the conversion of break points. So the break point conversion rate was not good, but still he was able to close out the matches because of the fact that he was able to create so many opportunities. So that was one of the key factor as well. Now let's look at some of the key weaknesses in Federer's game when he was in his prime. So topspin backhand on clay is definitely one of the weakness that Federer had. He has a good backhand. When I say weakness, it's you can say it's a relative weakness because I think his backhand is a good shot. It's not a bad shot. So on clay, Nadal was able to exploit this shot. All the other players were not able to exploit this shot because Federer's movement was so quick and all the other players were not lefty obviously and they did not have that angle to create as well as the topspin to push Federer to the limit, and that is why Federer against all the other players even on clay was able to run around his backhand, stay at his favorite position that we'll look at in the upcoming slides and dictate play from there, but he was not able to do that against Nadal because Nadal's forehand actually stretched Federer a lot far than he would have liked to go, and then Nadal was also able to attack from his forehand in the open court, which the other players were not able to do from their backhands because they were the righty players. So that was a difference. Then the breakpoint conversion, as I mentioned, that a lot of times Federer was not able to convert breakpoints against almost all the players. He needed 4 to 5 breakpoints more than all the other opponents, so his percentage on breakpoint conversion was quite less. Also, he was rushing to the net on big points with below par approach shot. That is a weakness that is still there. And he, on big points when he's facing multiple break points or he has multiple break points, sometimes he rushes to the net quite early without having a proper approach shot. He just tries to finish the points quickly, and it does not work well against good baseline players because they have good passing shots. They can lob as well. So it's quite difficult for Federer to finish those points off easily. Not using the drop shots. So Federer in his early years had the belief that drop shot is sort of a dead shot, and he was opposed to using that shot during the match. He thought that it's trying to finish off the points. It's disrespectful in a way to the opponents, and that is why he was not using the drop shot. But later on, as he realized that it's not the case, it's actually a very tactically good shot to hit and trouble the opponent, and he started using the drop shot. I think it was French Open 2009 where he used it a lot of times and got good success on that shot as well. Overhead smash on big points, we have seen it time and again, especially against Nadal on big points. If Nadal gets a good lob, then it's really difficult for Federer to smash. Sometimes he tries to smash in the middle of the court and it actually does not give him a winner. It keeps the point alive. Sometimes he tries to take the smash, without the bounce on big points, and he misses a lot of times as well. So I think Nadal is the player who has the best smash in the game. He rarely misses a shot, but Federer is the player, and even Djokovic misses a lot on the smash. Points played under pressure, as I already mentioned, Federer's key weakness. You can see a lot of matches. You can see the match against Nalbandian in the World Tour Finals in 2005. You can see some of the matches against Blake, US Open 2006, where Federer lost a few sets, a few points just because of the pressure he had from himself and also from the crowd. Even though he was playing really well, still he lost a few games and sets and a few matches against Nadal, obviously, because of pressure as well. So Federer's favorite pattern of play is actually to go with the inside out forehand. We'll see that in a bit as well. And if you'll see on all the important shots that he plays, even today, he tries to bring this pattern of play, into picture. He tries to stand at a position which is his backhand position cross court, but he tries to run around his backhand, take it into a forehand, and hit it inside out, open into the court. And then he tries to use the inside in forehand. And let me, show you the screenshot to picturize it better. So you can see on the screen. So this is the favorite, position for Federer in all the big points. You can see this is also a big point. So he's facing a break point here, and he trusts his forehand the most. And that is why he prefers to stand in this position, because in this position he has the confidence then that first thing is that the opponent will have a real difficulty to go down the line somewhere here, because it's not a high percentage shot, so it's the higher part of the net. It's not easy for the opponent to hit, so he is somewhat reluctant to go this side, the opponent. That is why Federer has the liberty to stay here and give some sort of open court. But then he also has confidence that even if the opponent goes to this side, Federer with his forehand stretch, with his reach, can actually get to this shot and maybe use a squash shot in his defense. And because his movement was so good during the peak years, he was more often than not, able to trace down those shots as well. So as I was mentioning his pattern of play, so the first shot that he tries to hit here, as you can see, is to open up the court. This is the green line, the shot number one, the inside out forehand. This is his favorite position. From here, he hits this shot, stretches the opponent outside the court, and then if he sees that the opponent is far outside the court, then he uses the shot number two, which is this down the line forehand. And after that, depending on how the opponent has reacted, if the opponent has hit a very weak reply, Federer would stretch, run to the net, sprint to the net, and finish it with a volley. If the opponent somehow manages to reach this shot, definitely more often than not, they would go for the percentage shot, which is cross court, but it will be a short reply because they are on the stretch, and Federer would be somewhere here trying to hit a down the line forehand and move forward and finish the point at the net. There are numerous examples of this pattern of play. If you see all his matches, I'll try to show some of the examples in a video as well, but this is his favorite pattern of play. So let's look at this example. This is the break point that Federer has. So Federer is facing. So you can see it's an important point, and you can see what Federer is trying to do. He's trying to take his forehand, trying to create the point from there, and he's just waiting. So you can see uh, when Djokovic goes to the backhand, now he hits a slice, and he's just trying to wait for a reply. Now you can see he goes for his forehand. This is the pattern of play he wants. He wants to stay in that position, and Djokovic hits a weak reply, and this is the pattern of play that I was talking about. Let's look another example. So this one, again, this time you can see Federer is facing a couple of break points here, and he'll try to stay in this position and try to dictate the play from here to here. You can see that. Because it's a big point, Federer will try to take everything into his forehand. So you can see he'll try to keep this pattern of play. This is his best and safest pattern of play, where he has the least amount of risk and the best chances to win the point. So he'll keep going, keep hitting that shot, and now he'll finish the point from here. So this is what I was trying to highlight in his pattern of play. And if you see a more detailed explanation, you can see this is the backhand zone in the picture, where Federer hits a backhand, and this I'm talking about his prime years from 2004 to 2007, and this you can see he has a very big forehand zone, huge forehand zone. So you can see he's standing right here, but still he's able to run around his backhand almost all the time and hit a forehand, and this gives him so much control on the court. Because his forehand is his best shot, he can go either down the line here or also cross court and construct the point from there. The opponent, you can see, is so far behind the baseline, and Federer is always on the baseline, right on the baseline or inside the baseline. But this is what I want to highlight here, that his backhand zone is so less, it's so small that it's very difficult for any opponent to get to his backhand consistently, and that was his key advantage that Federer had, which actually Nadal neutralized, because it was just not a good matchup for Federer to play against a lefty who had such a good forehand. with such a good topspin that, if Nadal would have, hit a forehand somewhere here, the ball would have bounced and gone somewhere here. So definitely it would have been difficult for Federer, and it would have been in the backhand zone for Federer. But all the other opponents, you can see it's quite easy for Federer to stay here because of his great reflexes, his movement, his fitness at that time, in his peak years, and able to control the shot from here. So, and that is why if you see during those years from 2004 to 2007, Federer hit almost like 70 to 75% of shots in his forehand, with his forehand, but only 20 to 25% of shots with his backhand during the whole match. And even those 25% of shots mostly comprised of slices as well as the passing shots. But rarely he, used to hit a topspin backhand. And because he was hitting less backhands, he actually, was always ahead in the score because he was using his favorite forehand shot 70% of the time. He was always ahead in score. So then when a shot, unexpectedly came to his backhand, he was confident that, he'll try to make this backhand. He'll try to go down the line as well, cross court as well. He could do a lot of things with it because he had that belief and confidence that, it's not his natural shot or it's not his go-to shot. It's just once in a while this shot is coming, so I'll try to hit a winner from here as well, because 70% of the time I know that I'm going to hit a forehand and I'm going to win the point. So this was the mindset that Federer had, and his court position, his fitness, his physique, and his movement on court allowed him to have this pattern of play. And this actually caused a lot of issue to Federer, because when Nadal started capitalizing on this Federer's weakness and tried to go more and more to Federer's backhand, then actually Federer realized that he has to practice more on his backhand front, because there are some situations, some points where Federer did not know how to you know act, how to react to the shot, and which shot to play. So here you can see Nadal is so far stretched out. It's a very important point. It's deuce in the third set. Federer is serving. Nadal hits a decent backhand, but he's still on the stretch. So an ideal shot for Federer would be a backhand cross court, a topspin backhand cross court. And if the ball is too high for Federer to hit, he could go back somewhat, or he could take it on the rise, or he could hit a slice cross court, a low slice cross court as well. But as you can see, Federer is not sure what to do, and he actually tries to, I don't know, play this slice here, which is a very deep slice here, and he goes outside on the baseline and he gives the point away to Nadal. So I'm not sure what he was trying to do here. Maybe he was trying to go back behind the opponent, but I don't think that was a percentage play here, because first of all, the ball was traveling to this direction, so Federer had to create the direction of his shot himself, which was not easy to do. It was such a crucial point. The percentage play would have been to go cross court. But this is what happens. What I'm trying to explain here is that because Federer was not put in this situation a lot of times, he did not know what to do exactly. And he sometimes, chose the wrong shot, chose the wrong approach. And that is why he lost a few matches, a few points, and also his confidence on his backhand. As I mentioned, that one of the Federer's weakness was his smash. So you can see here, it's a very important point. It's set point for Nadal. Federer actually hit a good serve and hit a good approach shot somewhere here. And Nadal is so far back behind the baseline. Nadal has just hit a lob and Federer is about to hit a smash. But because it was such an important point and Federer knew that, sometimes he does miss the smash, he should have allowed the ball to bounce here and take the smash, just, waiting for Nadal to commit to one side and then go for it. But Federer tried to finish the point early, which I think was a tactical mistake. And this is the same mistake that he, repeated a lot of times against Nadal. He thought that maybe if he tries to rush the point, if he tries to finish the point early, then he would be winning the point. But that was not the correct approach. Rather, he should have waited for Nadal to commit on these points. This is just an example, but all the other points, if you see Australian Open 2009 in the finals, in the first set, if you see the first set when it was 5-6, the score, Federer tried to come to the net without a proper approach, just trying to finish the point quickly. and also the French Open 2008. You can see Federer's strategy was to go to the net almost every time, serve and volley almost every time, whereas the conditions were damp on that day. The ball was not bouncing as much. The court was more slow. It was not a quick court as it is on the sunny conditions during the sunny conditions, and that is why it was a really bad strategy to attack on every ball, and that is why he lost it comprehensively. He was able to win only 3 games, I think, 3 or 4 games during the whole match. So that shows that sometimes tactically Federer has chosen the wrong tactic, wrong shots on important points, and that have actually caused him to lose a few matches against the top players. So again, another example of the same pattern of play. You can see this is from 2006. You can see because of Federer's movement, because of Federer's physique, and his, as I mentioned, his favorite zone here, he is still able to hit a forehand from this position. And even after this shot, so it's not a do or die situation here for Federer. Even after this shot, because of his movement and because of his great, physique, he can still reach here on the middle of the court and still be in the point. So it's not like he has to hit a winner from here and finish the point. Even if he hits a topspin forehand, a slow forehand, he will be able to reach here and still be in the point and maybe run around again for another shot. So this is what has been a factor. So when I mentioned that I'll also talk about his decline, I still think that after 2007 there was a decline in Federer's game. I would definitely say that he again improved a lot in 2010, 2011, once he got in form. But the major factor in his decline was his confidence. And because Federer is a belief player, he's a confidence player, because he has so many good shots, he definitely has a weakness in his backhand. But because he had so much belief that no matter what, he will be able to win the match in the end, he actually won the matches. But after 2007, when he started losing matches after his illness in January, he started losing matches. He lost in Australian Open, he lost in Dubai against Murray, he lost in Indian Wells, he lost in Miami. So when he started losing those matches, his confidence really went away, confidence really went down, his belief went down, and as a result, he became a more conservative player, trying to have more baseline rallies, which actually did not play well in his favor, because that was not his strength. That was actually the strength of all the other baseline players, to stretch out the rally. And because of his illness, he was not able to recover as well. It's not like he was not able to play, he was still playing, but his movement on court was slowed down, and he could feel that. And that is why it was not easier for him to move, to run around his backhand and hit a forehand as many times as he used to in the previous years. And that is why I think it was important to him actually to be more aggressive, but he did not do that. He became conservative, especially on big points. He started to wait for the opponents to miss, and it did not happen with players such as Djokovic, Nadal. They were not missing the balls. With players such as Murray, they were not missing the shots on big points. And actually, this led to Federer's frustration, and that is why he started rushing the points and losing those points as well. So this was his decline point. I think strategically, I know that Federer did not have, from 2005 to 2006, Federer did not change any of his strategies. But I still think that against Nadal, because I think he was playing so well, he was in his prime, maybe he thought that his game would be able to answer against Nadal and eventually he will start winning. But that was not the case. He took so many years to realize that Federer's game was not a good matchup for Nadal, and Federer had to adjust his tactics against Nadal to finally win. And he started doing that later on in his career. And if you see the matches post 2017, Federer plays only one style of tennis against Nadal, and that is to be super aggressive, try to finish the point with winners from both ends, whether it is backhand or forehand. And that is why he has been able to get so much success of late against Nadal. So another example, again, this is a big point. Federer is facing a break point here on his serve, and you can see his court position. So this was his court position 80% of the times where Federer was in trouble. Either he had a break point or he was facing a break point. This was his favorite position to dictate the play. And as I mentioned, that during his peak years, he was able to hit good passing shots. You can see how much he was able to get down, bend down to hit the passing shots. That's not the case anymore. And that is why he misses a lot of backhand passing shots specifically. And, some important points like one in the Wimbledon 2014 against Djokovic. If you see, Federer had a break point there, but Djokovic decided to come to the net. And, Federer was surprised by that, and he tried to use a slice passing shot, and it was not good, and obviously he lost the point. And had he taken that point with a good passing shot, he would have won the Wimbledon, because that was a very crucial point. And this is not just one instance, but there have been multiple examples of late where Federer has failed to hit a good passing shot, especially on the backhand side. This is because he does not bend so much anymore. He does not have the same physique. He's almost 40 years old now. So this is the reason that even when his backhand was a weakness, because his physique was so good and his technique was very good on the backhand, that he was able to hit good passing shots and control his weakness. So if the opponents, as an opponent, if you are only getting to hit to Federer's backhand 20 to 25% of the time during a match, it's obvious that you will not win the match, because 70 to 75% of the time Federer will control the match with his forehand, with his serve, and with the passing shots, and the occasional slice when he is in trouble. That is why he was able to win so much. Another example, another big point, it's 15-40, and you can see Federer's court position, just trying to prove my point again. And there you can see he has both the opportunities to control the point. And this is the pattern of play that I explained. It's just, again, showing you with a screenshot. So you can see Federer has hit a good forehand previous to this shot, and Nadal is, stretched. He's far behind the baseline. Nadal has hit a short reply somewhere here, and then Federer is on the run. You can see Federer, after hitting this down the line forehand from here, Federer is going to move forward and reach the net. Whether or not this is a winner, Federer is going to reach the net to finish the point with a volley. So this was the pattern of play. As I mentioned, Federer would start somewhere here, try to open up the court with this forehand here, which is point number one. Then he would somehow try to hit this shot, which is the point number two, bring the opponent somewhere here, and then Federer would hit a shot here in the open court, which is the shot number three, and he would reach the net to finish off the volley. So this was his favorite pattern of play. Another example, again against Nadal in the Australian Open 2009, Federer has hit a good shot here previously, and then Nadal has hit a shot which is, short in the court, and it gives Federer a chance again, to step in. He will hit this shot down the line, and again he will run towards the net. If it's not a winner, then Federer will be at the net to cover the volley. And again, this shot, as I mentioned, you can see it's another big point, and Federer is trying to apply his same pattern of play. He's trying to hit a shot there, pull, Kanyas outside this tram line, and then he is going to move forward with his forehand and finish the point at the net. Just the point that I mentioned, he's going to hit here and then finish the point at the net. So this was the analysis, guys. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.